To anyone that's going through a lot of emotional pain right now, whether it's from the loss of a loved one, heartbreak, any sort of deep sadness and trauma that's been bothering you for months or even years, the aim of this video is to not just give you comfort and hope and tell you that it's okay, you'll be okay, but to actually help you have a different relationship with your painful experience, with your trauma, to look at it from a different lens and change the entire meaning to it. When I came up with this video idea, it was almost 1 year ago, before I even started this YouTube channel. I think this was one of the first video ideas that I had, and while I was writing down everything that I wanted to share, I thought to myself, I will only make this video once I am completely healed, when I don't feel pain anymore about any of my trauma or any of my emotional painful experiences. And that is the first lesson that I want to share with you guys. Healing is non-linear. Now, what does that mean? Healing is non-linear. It means it's not something straight from point A to point B. There is no destination. You're healing throughout your life until you die. It's not about getting rid of the pain forever. It's about the extent to which you allow yourself to feel the pain, and how soon can you get yourself out of that painful experience or the painful memories that keep coming back. The frustrating thing about this is because there is no fixed timeline, because we think if someone can just come and tell me that you'll be okay in a few months, at least I have hope that yeah, I'll be okay, I can wait. But you don't know that. There is no fixed, your 3 months of healing could be my 6 months, and vice versa. This is why it's so hard to have hope and faith, because you may know that you'll be okay, but you don't know when. And that's what you need to have control upon, the when. How much do you allow yourself to grieve? I'm not talking about running away from grief and just resisting pain. That's not how you heal. You have to completely feel the pain. You have to surrender to it. And that's one of the important lessons I learned, that the more you run away from it, you're just skipping it for another time. Skipping grief is just delayed grief, because you're not processing it. Understand this, that grief and sadness are emotions that you need. These are needed emotions for you to process the pain. How else do you think you would process any painful experience that you've had in the past? So this is a process you need to get to the other side, which is peace. Again, it's not about getting rid of the pain forever. Obviously, ideally we would want that, but it's about being in a state where you don't wake up every day and have this heavy feeling in your chest every day. That's what we want to work on. That's what we want to become, emotionally strong to the point that whenever painful memories come back, or whenever we are hit with another calamity or any difficulty, we don't just have a breakdown. We know how to deal with it. And later in this video, I am going to give you some actionable steps that will help you. It's not just about giving you a generic advice, things that has helped me from like my personal experiences and things that I've learned from others, the books that I've read. Everything is going to be consolidated in this one video, and I hope that I can get it in the most comprehensive and concise way. If I had to summarize this entire video in one sentence, it would be, it's not about the pain, it's about your relationship with pain. First, I want to think of pain that keeps coming back, whether it's from 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Just think of it like this example. You're in a grocery store, you're getting groceries in a market, and you run into an old classmate from school. Maybe you were not close, you were not really friends, things were maybe awkward between the two of you, but now you've made eye contact, so you talk and you just catch up on a few things, and then that's it. It's just a 5-minute conversation, and you just leave and you go on your own ways. And then you think to yourself, wow, it wasn't that awkward. Why was I so uncomfortable approaching that person? Think of pain like that. I know it may not be the best example. This is something I've come up with, that don't run away from it. Don't think that it's going to be painful and hard and it's something that I should avoid at all costs. Just sit with it, have a conversation, talk, and just let it go. But if that pain keeps revisiting you, let's say you're running into that friend again and again, you're probably living in the same neighborhood. What I'm trying to say is you could be having a trigger that you're not aware of. There's something that's triggering that pain again and again more than usual. It needs your attention. Maybe there's some pain that's still unprocessed. There are two kinds of pain that I recently learned from Peter Sages. There's processed pain and then there's unprocessed pain. And the most important question, how do you know if it's processed or not? This you can answer by asking yourself an important question. The most empowering question, I would say. Am I coping or am I healing? This is where you need to understand that what are my patterns? Because sometimes we think we are healing, but it's just coping. We're just trying to run away. We think we're doing fine. We just distract ourselves from all these things. Oh, I have goals. I have things to do. I don't have time to cry or even think about what happened. It's the past. It's gone. You think it's gone, but then it's still in your subconscious. And now you have all these fears, subconscious fears, that's going to reflect in other areas of your life. It's going to snowball into something bigger. Maybe you'll have trust issues. Maybe you'll be scared to take risks. You'll be scared to fall in love again. You'll be scared to be vulnerable or anything, depending on the kind of situation you're in. That is so important because I think most of us are just coping. Most of us think that, yeah, I don't cry anymore, or I don't think about it anymore, so I must have been over it. Healing means you have to embrace the pain, you have to confront it and sit with it. And this will require you, there's no timeline, weeks, months. As long as you're working on it, you're doing everything that needs to be done, that's when you know that you're healing. And healing is not just needed for yourself, it's needed for everyone else around you. You have to be your most authentic self. I'm not saying you have to be healed and be perfect. You have to be a person who doesn't lie, because the biggest lie we tell to everyone else is I'm fine, I'm okay. Isn't that inauthentic? Like we say that I don't lie, I'm an honest person, but are you? What are you going to teach your kids? What kind of example are you going to set for them? Someone who just keeps hiding away pain, or someone who actually talks about it and has difficult conversations when needed and doesn't run away from it? Now here's where the practical steps or tips come in, things that you can actually do about it. Like how do you, like, remember what I said, it's not about your pain, it's about your relationship with pain. This is where we need to redefine your relationship with pain. Now what I'm about to share is almost like last 4 years of experiences, things that I've learned the hard way, things that I've learned from others, the books that I've read. I think you can read almost every self-help book and the advice would be more or less the same what I'm about to give you. In fact, I will link all the books that I've read that has helped me. Reading books is not, it's not like, oh, okay, I know this, yeah, I've understood, I know what to do, but do you actually do it? There's one thing to know on an intellectual level. You can know everything about healing and still not heal. That's what they say, because you haven't internalized it. On an emotional level, you haven't implemented it. You know what you need to do, but you don't do it. It's the same as not knowing. Anyway, redefining your relationship with pain. Understand that the very purpose of pain is to help you grow. Understand that every single person in your life, including your family, your friends, your siblings, your parents, everyone is here as a chapter, as a lesson. Everyone is going to hurt you in some way. Not saying that you become indifferent and you just expect them to hurt you all the time, but this is the reality of life. You cannot expect not to be hurt by people, especially by the people whom you love the most. There's this quote by Albert Einstein. The most important question you can ask yourself is, do I live in a friendly or a hostile universe? What kind of outlook, like overall outlook, do you have in life? Do you think that life happens to you or for you? Instead of asking yourself, why did it have to happen to me? Why did I have to go through it? Why me? What did the pain do for me? That's the most important question. How did it help me grow as a person? What maturity did I get? What wisdom, what lessons did I learn? And if that pain helped you come closer to the truth of life, closer to God, closer to your highest self, then that was a blessing in disguise, I would say. It was not a loss, because what you gained was much greater. You know how the process of gold is, right? So just think of it this way. You're being turned into gold or diamond or anything that has to be its most purest form, its most highest form, has to go through a lot of pain. Another example, I'm really good at coming up with metaphors nowadays. Think of pain like a gift in a bad wrapping paper. Sometimes we get so caught up with judging that wrapping that we don't even acknowledge the gift that's inside it, the benefit. The reason why I'm stressing so much on recontextualizing your relationship with pain is because this book that I read last year, The Inside Track, amazing book by the way, I'll link it in the description. It's about Peter Sage himself, who spent 6 months in one of the deadliest prisons in the UK. He dealt with almost every degree, every kind of offender, from murderers, drug dealers. I'm losing my voice. One day he was in queue to get his medicines in the prison, and he just met a guy who was going to get a higher dosage of antidepressants. Why? Because the ones he was taking right now were not helping, and he was still having suicidal thoughts. In fact, he was considering suicide as an option, like as a real option. This guy, Peter himself, he just understood his story. He just tried to get some background as to why, like where he is right now emotionally. And the reason why he was having suicidal thoughts was because he lost his dad 1 year ago. He didn't know how to process that trauma of losing a father, of losing a parent. At the same time, he had a wife and 2 kids. And he felt like a failure. He felt like he failed as a husband and a father because he's in prison right now. He just was giving up on life. And this man, Peter himself, he just had a conversation with him for, I would say, less than 10 minutes, because they were still in queue. They were getting the medicine, so he didn't have much time. He did an intervention. Obviously, he just shifted his entire perspective about the situation, about his pain. He didn't get too much into the story, but at the same time, he took the points and he showed him perspective or an outlook that completely changed him. He didn't motivate him. It was about rewiring your brain. And obviously for an expert it can take within 10 minutes, but if we are doing it for ourselves, it doesn't take a PhD to understand yourself, to understand human behavior. It just takes some deep reflection and reading a few books and just educating yourself, watching good podcasts or videos. It's not rocket science. That maybe therapy is not an option for you. You can DIY. Obviously, it's much better and it's the best option to get help from a licensed therapist, licensed professional. But in the long run, even a therapist is just going to show you the path or ask you better questions. They're not going to solve the problem for you. You still have to put in the work. So this is where you need to completely change your relationship with pain. I know it's easier said than done. I don't know your situation personally, you don't know mine. The whole idea is me trying to help you in a way without getting into your story, because you know your pain more than anyone else. No one in this world can ever know the degree, the extent to which you have felt the pain, you and except God. No one else knows. So this is the first step, redefining your relationship with pain. Understand that in which kind of universe do you live. Do you live in a friendly universe or a hostile universe? Is life happening for you or is it just happening to you? Are you just in a reaction mode? Either way, you're right. Even if you, like, whatever you think, that is your truth. Because this world is just a self-reflection of you. The next practice is contrast frames, and it is something that I'm sure you're already aware of. Is comparing one situation with another and giving it meaning. It's essentially saying it could have been worse. It could have been way worse than it is right now, so I'm so glad that I'm in this situation instead of that. And I know it's a bit cliche and in fact annoying sometimes. Like as kids, I remember like our parents would always tell us that you should be grateful that you have all these comforts and this lifestyle. We didn't have this at your age. You had to walk miles to go to school. And but it's true. It's the fact that we live in the most comfort lifestyle and we're so privileged. There are millions of people who are going through unexplainable suffering every single day, things that you can't imagine happening to yourself or to your loved ones. There are people who would happily trade lives with you and have your problems. They would happily have your problems because of the lifestyle that comes with it. Why is it that they have to live in slums or refugee camps and we are here in our comfortable rooms and air-conditioned households? There are fruits in your fridge that people haven't even tasted in their entire life. They have to drink water that you wouldn't even wash your face with. And I'm not saying all of this to invalidate your pain, that you shouldn't even feel pain, you should be ashamed of yourself. No. This is a reminder for you to just change your lens, because right now, this is your lens. You're looking at your pain, you're looking at your life alone, and you're like, oh my god, this is so bad, I'm doomed. Like you're just narrowly focusing just on the pain points and just your life, not All I'm inviting you to do is just change your lens, like how in a camera you can change to a wider lens. Change it to a wider lens and just look around you. Look at all the people that are going through. Obviously, we all have our own struggles, but once you understand that everyone is going through some sort of pain, you will be much more grateful that you're here instead of there. You will appreciate your circumstances instead of just looking at the lack of things. This is where you will have a contextual shift. This is a powerful technique, I would say, to understand that I am so grateful to be here. In fact, there will come a point you will be grateful for your pain. You don't know the wisdom behind the things that happen to you, but everything happens for your good. This is what I'm trying to focus on again and again, that it happens for you, not to you. You don't have the wisdom that God has. You don't have that sort of awareness to understand that, to understand the unknown. So once you have redefined your relationship with pain, and which takes time, obviously it's not like step one, check. Once you're working on redefining and understanding your relationship with your pain, and once you use techniques like contrast frames, now I have created my very own personal healing strategy for whenever I get revisits from my unwanted old memories. I came up with 3 steps. ARA: accept, reflect, action. The first step that you need to do, which most of us run away from, is acceptance, which is non-resistance. Instead of running away and shaming yourself for feeling it again, sit and allow it to come. Tell yourself it's okay to feel these emotions. My emotions are valid. I give myself grace. I accept you. You as in the pain. Have a conversation with it. Again, the example of old classmate. Sit and just feel it. Cry if you have to, but don't run away. That's the first step. Now the second step is trying to understand where it's coming from. Diagnosis, like how a doctor questions you, ask you all these questions that, okay, so what happened, when did it start, where did it come? They're just trying to understand the problem, they're trying to diagnose. So essentially you have to do a root cause analysis. Remember what we studied in school? You have to understand what are the triggers, where is it coming from. You need to sit with yourself, have a self-talk, do some shadow work, and just understand. And maybe you will still not have a clear idea, probably you will, but at least you have tried to understand where it came from. You have some clue to understand. You put some effort to know that, okay, this could be a potential trigger that I'm not aware of, because there's things that we don't even recall. It's just so deeply dug into our subconscious. And then the next step is action. You have to take action here. It could be as simple as meditating. It's simple but very profound, I would say. Meditation is something you don't just do when you feel pain or when you need help, something that you do regularly, but in this situation, do specific guided meditations for emotional pain, healing. I can't stress enough the blessing that we have in today's world. Our parents didn't have that. Our ancestors never had that. There are free apps on your phone from beautiful souls that are ready to give you 1 hour, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, 7 minutes of their time and to help you heal. Guided meditations are so amazing, and I don't know, maybe they're still underrated because I still haven't come across anyone in my personal life who does guided meditations to a good amount. Let me share something with you. I don't know if you can see. Healing inner child and emotional processing meditation. Locating emotional pain, seeking to be healed from trauma. These things help. This is where you need to take action and do something for yourself, or go to therapy. If you think that's what you need right now, go to a good therapist who uses the right kind of therapy, because it depends what kind of technique you need right now. Or maybe you just need to talk to a friend, maybe you just need an advice, or maybe you need to talk to someone who is associated with that pain, and this is where you need to confront and have difficult conversations. This is where you need to do the deep work, because maybe there's still some unprocessed pain. Maybe you haven't forgiven someone, and again, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. Another important action is your routine, your diet. Sometimes it's just that you're not taking care of your body. Your relationship with food needs to be healthy. The quality of your food directly impacts the quality of your emotions. It's a fact. Science, Google it. So the entire purpose of this exercise is make that muscle stronger, the emotional muscle strong, to the point that whenever pain hits you, you don't just have a breakdown and you don't know what to do with it. You don't have a healing strategy. You're just coping with it. Just because you are not healing and you're running away from pain doesn't mean that you won't have to face its consequences. You still have to carry it within you, and it gets heavier and heavier and heavier and just snowballs. And once you start doing that, you'll stop living in a survival mode and actually start channeling those emotions, those painful emotions, into something creative, into something beautiful. And this is where contribution comes in. Contribution is so damn important. One of the ways to find peace is to help someone else find peace. We need each other. If you survived all the times you thought you couldn't, if you overcame struggles that once seemed impossible to overcome, you have a gift, you have a talent, you have a skill that's going to help others. You have a survival kit, and you are a source of inspiration for others who are going through a similar kind of pain, that it is possible to heal, that there is another side to it. You can find peace. There are people who have turned their pain into their income. They have become coaches and they've created courses, they've written books. That's how you know that pain is not your enemy. It's your biggest strength. It can be your biggest superpower. It can be something that brings you so much abundance in your life and others' lives. According to studies, people who recovered from cancer without any extreme treatments like chemotherapy were able to do so because they reached a point, an emotional point, where they were so grateful for cancer that it didn't matter if they were going to live or die. It wasn't about that. It's about the deep gratitude for the pain. Why? Because they needed it. They needed that reminder. They needed that tap on the shoulder. They have that reminder of the truth of life. It helped them forgive someone. It helped them let go of resentment. It helped them overcome an addiction problem, alcohol, whatever it is. The point is, the second you stop fighting your pain and resisting it and just avoiding it at all costs and just surrender to it, let it consume you for a while, that's when it will let go of you. That's how you find peace. If I had to summarize everything I just said in one of my favorite quotes from the wise old Rumi, it's the cure to pain is in the pain. So in conclusion, stop letting the pain define you and start redefining your relationship with your pain. This life is filled with tests and tribulations, and you will be hurt, you will be disappointed, criticized, misunderstood. This is how you know who's right for you, what kind of people are right for, what kind of things are right for you. You just remove what it doesn't serve you, and you come closer to the things that are best for you. This is how you become your highest self. And everything that I said in my previous 2 videos about highest self can work only if you're working on your pain, on your trauma. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.